And welcome back to JKLIVE Live here at Citizen Television. Yes, live in the studio with Homer-based Senator. He's also the chairman of the Devolution Committee, Moses Kajwang, and also on my far left over there, former Majority Whip. Remember him? Yeah. Murang'a Senator Irungu Kang'ata. He looks very calm today, by the way. Former Majority. How do you feel? How do you feel now? Do you feel free? Do you feel...
Yes, you see, the Bible tells us, what profits a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul? What profits Irungu Kang'ata to be the majority whip? You get all those privileges, but then again, you're going against the people's direction. I strongly believe a leader must have certain higher moral ideals. Things he's ready to die for. And for me, I'm ready to die supporting the cause of Murang'a people.
So you're meaning Hustler Nation?
Yeah, of course, Hustler Nation. It is true.
Which, by the way, Senator Kajwang, Hustler Nation has been very quiet, and maybe it's just me, but been very quiet lately.
Well, first of all, Irungu Kang'ata, I wonder how he sleeps well with Murkomen's blood, Susan Kihika's blood on his head. I just wonder how you sleep. Because when he had the power, this man used his dagger ruthlessly. By the way, let me disclose, I'm a beneficiary of his magnanimity. I became chair of devolution when he was a whip. And I must thank him because he convinced the Jubilee team not to run against me. And they were the majority. So he's my friend because I like him, because he influenced my election as chair of devolution.
But he might pull that dagger still.
But he has a lot of blood in his hands, such that when he says he's free, I'm sure that there's some demons that follow him at night. But the hustlers, these guys have been outwitted, they've been outplayed, outfoxed. They don't know where to aim their fire. They don't know where to aim their artillery. They take aim at Uhuru. Then all of a sudden they shift to Raila, and now they have shifted it to Gideon Moi. I mean, you can't win a war. Even if you're a marksman, you can't be shifting your focus from one person to the other. You know, mobile targets. I think they need to rethink, not just that story they are talking about of, you know, hustlers empowering the hustlers. And in fact, I've not seen the wheelbarrows being distributed. Yeah. I've also not seen the mkokotenis. I've also not seen a lot of the things that were signature hustler activities. So I think they're in a serious state of confusion. They're not sure whether to be part of the BBI, a process which Kang'ata supported at the start until he became de-whipped. That's when he stopped supporting it. A process that he warned the entire nation was going to collapse in Murang'a, in Mount Kenya region. And indeed you saw when the results came in from the county assemblies, Murang'a passed the BBI report even before Migori in Nyanza, correct, which was expected to have been the one to pass it. But I'm not sure whether it is true that Kang'ata eventually said that he had conducted his survey on Murang'a Road, not in Murang'a County.
Senator Kang'ata. Yeah, okay, you get the floor.
First is to say that I am guilty as charged, that personally when I was the whip pushing the government agenda, I strongly felt that what we are doing is not the correct thing. But of course, I had been given a job by the party, I had to do it. It is on that basis that I went to Murang'a in December 2020. I had a discussion with my people. They told me, Kang'ata, look here, we have been supporting you since when you are a councillor, a very young person. We elected you to become member of parliament for Kiaru, a huge constituency in Murang'a County. Then we elevated you to become a senator. Why are you going to those dynasties? It is on that basis I saw the road to Damascus.
and it wasn't Murang'a Road.
No, I can tell, no, it is the truth. Because my people are telling me, we're in the Hustler Nation. Why do you join dynasties? Then I said, it is true. I want now to go back to where my people want me to be. It is on that basis I went back to Tanga Tanga. I was the original founder member of Tanga Tanga. I know. Second issue, he's talking of that we are aiming, I don't know, at His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta, Raila Odinga, Mudavadi. You see, my brother here is operating on the traditional politics maxim. As we don't aim at anyone. Hustler Nation is a political moral story. For the first time, we have a political party, a political faction that is pushing an agenda that is beyond tribes, that is beyond personalities. It is, for the first time, we have a person who is pushing something that is holistic, idealistic, as opposed to tribal politics. When you talk of hustler nation, it applies everywhere. It's an issue-based politics for the first time. For them, they can't fathom that. They only look politics from an ethnic point of view. So us, we don't do politics of personalities. We are not fighting anyone. We are fighting poverty. We are fighting unemployment. We are fighting backwardness of this country. We are not fighting anyone. In fact, if Musalia wants to join Hustler Nation, come. Uhuru Kenyatta, if he wants to come and join Hustler Nation, come.
Oparanya?
Oparanya, please join us. Raila Odinga, join us. Because us, we are changing the paradigm of Kenyan politics.
Okay, gentlemen.
I mean, can I?
Yes, please.
You see, they use a lot of English to explain what they're up to because it doesn't make sense. Go to Dubai, go to the UAE, a simple clarion call, Arabs in mass. That is a target that they've set themselves, that UAE are going to take their people in mass, to planet Mars. The United States of America, when they set these targets to go to the moon, it was not just a fancy trip. It was not just a prestige thing. There was a huge value chain of ensuring that you are ready, you've got the technology, the infrastructure, the know-how to put people on the moon, to put people on planet Mars. If you go to countries like Singapore, they industrialized and they became global economic superpowers, not because they said that they're going to support the rickshaw operators, and there was no shortage of rickshaw operators in Singapore at the point of independence. Politics and leadership is about creating a compelling vision, providing hope, and telling the hustler that it is possible for them not to live in Kibra, but to do better. There is no crime in making an aspiration that all Kenyans can live in Buruburu or all Kenyans can live in Runda, because it is possible. Singapore has achieved it through its Housing Development Board and several other things. Hustler and the people you want to use for your political ascendancy can only be a consequence of a proper value chain of innovation and a clear idea on industrialization and a clear idea on how to recover your economy. If you're going to tell Mama Onyango, who fries fish on the roadside, that we want to give you a bigger sufuria for you to fry more fish, you are messing up. You should be talking about how do you create a value chain in the fisheries industry so that Mama Onyango, instead of frying fish on the roadside, Mama Onyango could be sending her fish to the UK so that the Queen can be having fish from Lake Victoria. I think there is a very warped up motion of trying to go for what Frantz Fanon talked about, the lumpen proletariat, as being the people who can easily catalyze a revolution. And that is why at some point there was talk of radicalization of the masses just to ensure that they get into office, but without a clear idea on how they want to uplift those masses that have taken them to office.
Lupinization, that's a lot of English as well there. Gentlemen, take a look at this picture for me. And Senator Kangata, just describe this photograph. We saw this, it's been in the newspapers, it's been gone viral. There is a picture of Baringo Senator Gideon Moi, and right in the middle, ODM Chief Raila Odinga, and then on the right-hand side, the president's brother, Moho Kenyatta, in Karen yesterday. Tell me, what does that picture tell you, Senator Kangata?
Dynasties. Dynasties. They are all children of very powerful persons in this Republic of Kenya. Yeah, to me that is what is called privilege in politics. You see, for us, Hustler Nation, we believe in equal opportunities. You provide equal opportunities.
So what's the problem with them meeting? I mean, why can't they meet?
No, it is good, of course. There's nothing wrong with that. But you ask me what I see.
Yeah, the message.
I see two things. Number one, privilege. Number two, and most importantly, a subtle plan to make Gideon Moi the guy who is going to lead Kenya. I think Raila Odinga is now being told support Gideon Moi. Because you see, when you pair up Gideon Moi and Raila Odinga, what are you doing? Simply you are saying Gideon Moi is now is of equal rank with Raila Odinga. And for me, that is what is called ranking him a pari passu. He is now like a co-principal. You see, look here, of course.
Now we're speaking Latin. Switch to Latin.
No, he got his PhD in law recently,
for me, of course, it goes without saying. My brother there, Raila Odinga, he's just been told, you relax, support Gideon Moi. Of course. Of course.
Senator Kajwang, what are you reading into this?
I mean, it's, I read compassion. I read humanity, humility, and brotherhood. It is not a secret that Raila Odinga contracted the COVID-19 virus. And we thank God that he has intervened and he has brought him back to his feet. You know that Raila Odinga is in the high-risk category. And that is the age that in countries like Spain, Italy, and in Europe has borne the brunt of COVID. I just don't understand how Kangata could be seeing dynasties in a situation where two leaders and family friends have gone to pay a visit on someone who has just come out of hospital. It is no secret. And Raila Odinga is the kind of guy who, if he's unwell, the country knows. He does not hide it. You remember the time he had surgery on the head? You remember the time he went to Dubai? And even this COVID, many of us have had COVID and they've been hiding it, creating the impression that they're superhuman. What we have here in that photo of the three gentlemen, and I think this is a kind of Kenya that we need to see. I would love to go and visit Irungu Kangata when he's in trouble. I would expect that William Ruto would find some time to go and pay a visit on Raila Odinga. I would expect Musalia Mudavadi and even Kalonzo Musyoka and Wetangula to go and pay a visit on Raila Odinga, because it is African tradition, it is human practice, it is good manners that when someone has been unwell, you go and pay them a visit. And that's what it is. Of course, there are those who say that a toad does not jump in broad daylight for no reason. It is either being chased or it's chasing something. And I think that's the Kangata school of thought, that when they look at that picture, they're seeing all sorts of conspiracies. But to me, this is the reflection and the image that Kenya should have.
So so it's not a knee-jerk reaction to William Ruto meeting with Oparanya for more than a day inside the Masai Mara. It's not a knee-jerk, it's not panic.
You know, Jeff, some of these things, I realize that Kenya, there are different worlds. Now that Nairobi is locked down, there are those who are able to get out of Nairobi by flying choppers. And if you're flying choppers out of Nairobi, there's only one place you can get the chopper from, Wilson. Now, when you're flying choppers towards Western Kenya, there are certain areas where you can fuel. And in Narok, at the Mara, and that particular spot that is alleged to have hosted a meeting between these two people, is a fueling spot. We know that. We have flown that circuit going to Western Kenya.
They spent the night.
Yes, so even if they spent the night, it could have been bad weather, so the pilot says that they cannot proceed. Anyway, all that is speculation.
Yes.
But I think we should not read too much and over-politicize. We can discuss the Oparanya Ruto meeting if it happened, but the Gideon Muhoho Raila meeting, to me, is an example of the Kenya we want to build, a Kenya where we harbor no grudges, where we harbor no ill will, where even if someone who has put you in detention or someone you have had serious political differences with in the past is unwell, you go out and you condole with
Okay, Senator Kangata, half of your Jubilee, ODM, is this panic? Are we seeing panic when we see, because yes, Deputy President William Ruto did meet with Governor Oparanya. They met. They spent the night in the Mara. Discussions. You saw the pictures. Is this a knee-jerk? Are they panicking in half of Jubilee?
No, of course. From where I see it, it's clear that some people in Jubilee are very fearful when they see a situation where Mr. Raila Odinga wants to get out of handshake, because they know very well that it is Mr. Raila Odinga who is shoring up the numbers of a certain faction of Jubilee in Parliament. So the day he will get out of the handshake, they suspect definitely there will be trouble. for that faction of Jubilee. And for me, I think it's not a good strategy. It's, politically, one should be strong. You should have your own parliamentarian supporting your cause. This idea of going to get support outside your political party, I think that exposes you to a lot of blackmail. And for me also, you get the impression that that handshake after BBI will definitely get into a lot of problems. You can see the problems have started to emanate now. But compare that with Hustler Nation. As we are not waiting for anyone, we know our presidential candidate, William Ruto. We know our plan for 2022. We don't want any endorsement. We are forging forward, supporting our candidate. But for them, the BBI coalition that is comprised of Kalonzo Musyoka, Mudavadi, Moi, Raila Odinga, I don't know Wetangula, up to now they do not even have a candidate. So they will jostle, they will fight, and ultimately, it is them who are going to collapse. Us, we can't collapse because we have a candidate. So they will collapse, definitely. Yeah. The day they will say, so-and-so Tosha. So once they collapse, they'll come to us.
Tell me something. Would Ruto work with Raila?
It's neither here or there. Most likely it can happen. And by the way, let me tell you the truth is, if Raila was to come and support Ruto, from where I see it, I don't see any problem. In fact, the better. Yeah. So long as he doesn't come to our side and say he wants to become the presidential candidate, that's the only time we can have a problem, because our candidate is only one, William Samoei Ruto. So if Raila Odinga was to say, okay, I want to defect and I endorse William Ruto, the better.
Senator Kajwang, do you see that? Raila working Ruto?
Well, can I finish?
Go on.
Definitely, most likely that may happen. Because,
will happen.
You know why?
You said it will happen.
Most likely. Why? Because Raila Odinga appears to have entered into the arrangement with His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta, expecting something in return, some political backing of some sort. It's clear, or as we speak now, that may not happen. All indications seems to be showing that side is going to support our colleague Senator Moi. Once that happens, Raila Odinga will be disgruntled. He will definitely cross over. Or he may decide to vie independently so that we have a three-horse race. So, whatever the formation.
You don't see him endorsing Gideon?
Of course, they can't agree. And by the way...
Why not?
Oh, of course, you know Raila Odinga always want to become the president of this republic. And by the way, we don't even mind that. The day he will do that, he'll be a Hustler Nation. I'm telling you. Listen, you know why? You know why? William Ruto is the only person in this republic, major politician, who has assisted other politicians. So, His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta and his support yard, they owe Ruto. Them, 207, they owe Ruto. So the day Raila Odinga doesn't come to us and is not a candidate, we'll go to their place. We tell them, look, you guys, we assisted you in 207. Come now. They'll come to us. So in short, the yes is the Tower of Babylon. Yeah? They're speaking in different languages. Us, we know our captain. We are pushing our captain to become the president of this republic.
Senator Kajwang, that's huge.
Yeah, I mean, they become rather cocky of late. But with a lot of conspiracy theories that Senator Gideon Moi will be the candidate, I don't think we have gotten to that. And the other scenario is describing of Raila coming to, defecting to their side. I mean, that's like telling the mountain to go to the man. I don't think that is likely to happen. You see, this BBI conversation is about broad-based consensus and making sure that we end this politics of winner takes it all. And I know we have said this over and over again since the BBI process started. We now have a proposal that will create a broad-based government structure that will accommodate those who are on the winning side and even those who are on the losing side. You can be in the opposition, you can be a meaningful member of the opposition. The 2010 Constitution took away the meaningful role of the opposition. even in parliament, because you didn't have a leader of opposition in parliament, you didn't have a shadow, cabinet, you didn't have the opposition having something formal that they can use to check the government. And I think, for me, that is one of the beautiful things about the BBI, in that we know that we can never have a situation where everyone is in government. But even those who are not in government will still find a very meaningful way of engaging. And we have seen how that works very well, even in the UK, where you have the leader of opposition, and I think right now it's Labour having his cabinet, and having access even to government resources to ensure that they hold the government to account. Today, as we speak, the people who are making so much noise about how badly this government is doing, guys like Kangata, people who are at the engine of the Jubilee Manifesto, and people who have the higher responsibility of ensuring that that manifesto is implemented. When it comes to debt, they are crying very loudly. When it comes to fuel prices, they are crying very loudly. When it comes to the economy, they are crying loudly. It is only today that they've realized that there is a group called hustlers that needs to be lifted out of their poverty. And that can only be done when they become president. It cannot happen when they're part of that government. So there's a lot of double speak on these matters. And even the assertion that Kangata makes that Raila is about to bolt out of the BBI, how do you, we don't have bad manners like his guy who bolts out of a party that he formed. Raila has no intention of bolting out of the BBI because he's party to it. That is why, Jeff, when this handshake happened, it was Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta. As the hawks and the sycophants were nowhere to be seen. Even Kangata was nowhere to be seen. Because these two guys know, the minute you bring Kangata, then you bring Kajwang, kitumbua kimeingia mchanga. We are going to start talking about irrelevancies and start conspiracy theories, and we'll mess up a good thing.
By the way, what's the timeline of the BBI? I'm at a loss here. There's supposed to be a referendum by June. We're in April right now.
They are acts of God. I think this pandemic could qualify to be called an act of God, because we were in the Senate yesterday to pass the division of revenue bill, and we are resuming in May. But I know that if the Justice and Legal Affairs committees of both houses can complete their report in time, it is not impossible to recall Parliament to consider that report. So it is still on track.
Timeline being what, June, July, maybe?
For the referendum, yeah, or for parliamentary? For
parliamentary to finish their...
I suspect that Parliament will dispense with the BBI bill in May at the latest.
In May?
In May.
And then referendum still happening, you think? Or you don't care? It doesn't matter.
No, he must care, because it offers him a bargaining chip, those additional positions.
Yes. You know, Parliament is the only place in the world where sound travels faster than light. Yeah. So when you listen to the sounds in Parliament, they seem to indicate ODM wants to torpedo BBI. I don't know whether they will change that. They are using it now to extract some bargains from the government. Anyway, I don't know. We are waiting to see how that thing will pan out. So for us, BBI has serious problems which needs to be addressed. I hope the parliamentary judicial legal committees, JKLIVE, is the two committees of National Assembly and the Senate, they are going to remedy some of those problems which are in BBI.
Are you saying there are cracks?
Yes, of course. When you hear what people are talking about there, most likely there will be serious fights over BBI. I can tell you in the next 2 or 3 weeks. You wait and see. Be that as it may. For us, we want a non-contested referendum. We want the problems in the BBI corrected. If that doesn't happen, we shall tell Kenyans to make a decision. It is their document. They will make a decision once we have a referendum. Of course, for me, I think the best case scenario would have been we hold a little bit until this COVID issue is addressed. Those billions that we are expending in BBI should be used to buy vaccines. Those billions that we want to add as extra burden to the Mwananchi through BBI, from where I sit, should be used to do mass testing, to expand our hospitals, to buy more vaccination and ensure all farmers, all poor people, all hustlers, they have that vaccine. But look, the political class is fighting to expand Parliament. Do you know there is a parliamentary report which has captured that once BBI passes, we shall expend 20 billion per annum extra burden to the Mwananchi. Surely, is that the Kenya we want? For me, I would imagine a good Kenya is where we are using those billions to buy food for our children in primary school, free feeding program for our children at primary school, to create employment opportunities for the poor person, for the common Mwananchi. I think that's the new Kenya we want. We want more doctors, we want more nurses, we want our university students to get employment. But when we use billions to create the office of the Prime Minister, the Deputy Prime Minister, anyway, they are technically in government. Yeah, you do it, my brother. Anyway, you proceed.
I think you proceed. He's saying that reggae has stopped.
Yeah.
Well,
that's what he said.
But then for your information, him and I, we love reggae, and we used to go for a few reggae jams. So
he used to be a DJ. He loves reggae.
And if reggae stops, he'll feel the brunt of it.
No, but I can tell you, since Raila started talking about reggae, I now listen to gospel.
I think that's politics of ile tunaita siasa ya chuki. That because I don't like Jeff, and now Jeff is drinking Fanta, I stop drinking Fanta. Yeah. And that's what the Kenya I want to build. In fact, that's why I said earlier that the Kenya where you're seeing the Mois and the Kenyattas and the Odingas, despite their historical differences, coming together at a point where you need the support of a human being and the compassion of a human being. That is the Kenya we want. And I will repeat it, I will be excited to see William Ruto going to check on Raila Odinga. And I will not read too much into it. What I will read is that this is a man with a heart. This is a man with Utu. Because at the end of the day, it is about Utu. It is not about all these promises. Kangata makes a very eloquent and passionate case on why we should do mass testing, get vaccines, and employ doctors. In a 3 trillion budget, what has stopped us from doing that? And the Jubilee government that you have been part of, that you have been parroting from the year 2013, for 5 years, had power, undisturbed, undiluted. From 2017, it is only when the handshake happened that's when you guys started, disclaiming.
Can I respond?
Saying
can
that
I respond?
Before
No. Can I respond?
The 3 trillion.
No, things were going well. I'm telling you, things were going well until these guys joined government. So we changed the agenda of the government.
So when the handshake happened,
things changed.
So tell me,
the Kenya was. I'm telling you, things were going well. Roads were being built.
Why did we have a problem with health sector? If things were going well, why did COVID?
Since you joined, you joined government.
So did
this guy was in the opposition.
The hospital.
Yeah, I'm telling you because now the focus now is on BBI.
Okay,
yeah,
gentlemen,
the agenda.
And I hope you can have a sober dissection of that matter.
We will, but let me just point out to Senator Kangata. Yesterday, he was at Karori police station supporting Moses Kuria, who had been arrested for flouting COVID rules. And there you are, you politicians, you don't practice what you preach.
Accusing others of privilege. Accusing others of being dynasties.
Let me tell you.
Can you tell me that after the break? Tell me after the break.
Yeah.
Why were you supporting Moses Kuria and a maskless Moses Kuria?
No. I can tell you there's a deeper story to that.
Oh, conspiracy theories.
Story to that issue.
Jeff, we must agree whether we are discussing facts or conspiracy theories.
This sounds like the Kennedy assassination, you know? Keep tweeting at Koinange Jeff. As in, again, 2 young, smart senators in the House. This is the future of Kenya. Why they don't take it now, I don't know who they're waiting for. Guys, you're in your 40s, man. What are you waiting for? Jeff Koinange Live takes a break. We'll be back. No more. How young is Ruto? Ruto's my age.
Exactly.